look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a 5 on a deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Adolis Garcia swings on the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall. And the legend grows. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season.
Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Happy Friday, everybody. It's time for a little A's Cast Live as we're getting you ready for a little day of Major League Baseball as the Athletics have Game 2 of the 4-game set from Target Field. But we've got a lot to get into today. We've got some big series. Did you know Philly and Baltimore are going after it?
I did. And you asked me a good question earlier. Would I take this as the World Series preview or the field? I said, you know what?
Well,
F Philly, take the field.
First of all, you will not be paying attention to Philly and Baltimore because it's Yankees Red Sox. It will consume you.
Yeah, between that and
it'll consume you.
Between that, unfortunately, have to go with my wife to see the Angels play the Giants tonight because she's an Angels fan, and this is the first time that we'll see the Angels in the Bay Area. We still have not seen the Angels and A's play yet this season.
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim,
Raleigh
Oxnard, San Bernardino. Who are they? I didn't even forget they
Orange
still
County.
play. Are they having a meeting?
Another one? I mean, they did get blown out yesterday.
Will the Angels be having another meeting? I like Royals and Dodgers is interesting. Dodgers have not been playing great baseball.
No, and the Royals are on a historic pace of what their turnaround. Like I think I mentioned yesterday, they can tie like the 1902 Giants for a 36-game win improvement if what they're on pace for.
Two teams that at one point were chic picks for at least making the playoffs, if not winning the division. Rays, Braves play each other. And boy, the Braves numbers to make the playoffs, and they were supposed to win the division. They've taken a nosedive. And Reds, Brewers is interesting because all of a sudden everybody wanted to bury the Reds. They are back. And they are interesting. And they're taking on the Brew Crew right now, and they're having a great year. So lots to get into. We've got a great show for you. We have the A's manager, Mark Kotsay. We've already taped that show. And we have Dave Stewart, A's Hall of Famer Dave Stewart. And really what we're going to get into today is the one thing that I love about Stu, it's the baseball life, right? You know, most people want to get Dave Stewart on and, oh, you're a great player. But things that I love about what Dave Stewart is accomplished as a front office, coach, agent. He's done everything. Future owner. He now knows what it's like to put a franchise together. This time of year is, I hope, going to be interesting for the sake of our sport. I'm worried that it's not going to be, but Dave can take us through because there's when you're a GM, there's really three places you could be: buyer or seller, right? Pretty simple. We're in it, we're out of it. And then you got the tweener who doesn't know yet. So we want to talk to Dave today, put the GM hat on. What is this process like? What is it like when you say, okay, I'm a buyer? When you're a seller, it's pretty simple, right? When you're a seller, you're saying to everybody, hey, I got a house. Here's my house. We're open this weekend. You want to come by? Anybody can walk through it, right? I mean, when you got a sale going on, you'll take calls from anybody. But when you're a buyer, well, you want to pick and choose what you want. So how do you go about that process? I mean, there might be people you want, they're not for sale. or they may be for sale for a certain price. So here we are mid-June, and if you are, because these conversations got to be taking place. Because what happens is if I call, let's say who's a buyer? Let's say I'm the Orioles, right? And I'm going to target certain people that I want to get. Well, I've got to start looking at names, and I'll just say I'm the Orioles and the Cardinals. I got to call Mozeliak of the Cardinals and say, hey, I'm interested in X, Y, and Z. And then they got to go, okay, well, then now the Cardinals got to focus their scouts on the Orioles organization, and they got to find out who they want. And then once they find out who they want, then we got to trade names, and we're not always going to agree on the names because you're going to want all my best prospects, but I'm not going to give you all my best. So there's a dance that goes on. I want to get into that with Dave Stewart. And then I want to get into when should you really start to decide whether I'm in it or not? Because all the wild cards have made it hard. You could be a team that's under 500, but you look at the wild card. I mean, I can go to the standings right now, and you look at the wild card, you can say, well, I'm X amount of games under 500, where you go, that record stinks. And then you could say, yeah, but. Well, the yeah, but is simple, right? I'm calling up the wild cards right now.
There's like 6 teams in the National League that are 3 games. I think it's a game and a half.
So I'm in the National League. I'm the Giants. I'm not in the playoffs. If it ended today, I'm not in the playoffs. Doesn't matter. The Giants right now are a half game out at 34 and 35. Next up is the Cincinnati Reds, who we just said big series against Milwaukee. Cincinnati Reds are 2 games under 500. They're a game back of the last wild card. Arizona at 33 and 36. They're in a game and a half back. Look at the Cubs. I would say 33 and 37 is not good.
And paying your manager $8 million a year?
And wouldn't want to make me be a big-time buyer. But I could turn around and say to you, you're only 2 games back. Your Pittsburgh Pirates at 32 and 36, 2 games back. The Washington Nationals, who, if you remember, when they were there here against the A's, and the A's won that series, I said, hey, look out for these guys. These guys are going to be better than you think. Well, Washington is better than you think. They're only 2 games back. The Mets are a disaster. Mets are only 3.5 games back of that last wild card. So how do you decide from these teams? I mean, there's really only 2 teams out in the National League. That's Colorado and Miami. Everybody else technically has a puncher's chance. So if you're Dave Stewart and you're a GM, Stu, talk me through it. When do I really need to decide, am I in or am I out? Because you do have to remember, start getting your scouts out, what teams, who do we look at? Yes, I got reports on everybody, but now I really want to look at it. There is a total process. And then we'll get into some A's baseball with him because Dave obviously is still doing A's pre- and post-game live on NBC Sports California. I think I have a couple broadcasts coming up with him in July that I'll be doing it with Dave. But it's always an honor to have on the A's Hall of Famer, Dan Hayes from The Athletic, who covers the Twins, who grew up in the Bay Area, is going to join us as the Twins, 37 and 32. They've won 2 in a row. They've been a hit-or-miss team. Did you like the new home run celebration that they rolled out when Correa went deep yesterday? I
mean, anything Prince-related, I think, is a hit, especially in Minnesota.
But did you see the entire outfit?
It was a hat and there was a prop or something, right?
It's an inflatable guitar, Prince guitar. There's the fedora and there's a vest. Are you in or you out?
I'm in. It's fun.
We're not saying not have fun. Are you in on the get up?
I mean, it's Prince related, but how long is it going to last? I mean, are they going to do it on the road?
Well, they're saying it's the new thing. I'm just saying.
While the summer sausage is out.
This is the best you got. I mean, you couldn't come up with something more creative than this. In my opinion, it's not a great look.
Probably not. I mean, maybe that's the point. They know it's not a good look, and they're just going to do it anyway.
It's just bad. You haven't seen what it looks like. It's terrible. Look it up. It looks terrible. But also, we're going to get the City Connects tonight for the Minnesota Twins.
I do think those
land of the 10,000 lakes, as my cousin who who was born and raised in Minnesota, my cousin would tell you, land of the 10,000 lakes means a lot of mosquitoes and bugs in the summertime.
The fedora is okay. I mean,
look at the vest. It's Prince. You can't do something better to I hold Prince in high regard. I think they're
the vest is whatever, but the fedora is fine. Wear the fedora around. Remember the Angels were wearing they
have the
samurai hat.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was wear the fedora hat. The Blue Jays have the Homer jacket, which they're not really hitting home runs, so
I'm just saying the get up is kind of weak. If you're going to honor Prince, do it in style. That's weak sauce.
Speaking of the City Connects, if you want to look, their all white City Connect hat is pretty clean, as the kids say, in my opinion. I think it's a cool looking hat.
Not cringy, as the kids say.
No, let me see if I can find someone had it. Twins.
So you're saying they slayed it?
Yeah, they're slaying, as they say.
Twins have a good color scheme. That navy blue and red is a solid color scheme. And what I love about it is you can wear it with anything. Not everybody's color scheme you can wear with everything.
I shouldn't have.
Yeah, you've taken us off on
it's okay. Sorry. I shouldn't have Googled.
That is pretty clean. That's nice.
This is their City Connect hat that they're doing, but they have an all white one. It's on my phone. I'll show you in the break.
Way to, as a program director would say, way to take the car off the road, Cody.
Sorry, we
got to reel the show, getting it going, just
got to reel him back in somehow.
Wow, you got to get the car back on the road.
Yeah.
I want to warn people. We are about to get inundated with articles and tweets. Do we still call the things on X tweets?
I think they're posts now is what they're called.
Tweets, posts, whatever. We're about to get inundated with trade stuff. And what I'm worried about, and I'm not going to fall for it because I think I'm going to prepare myself. I think we learned this past offseason that our sport is changing. And one of the reasons why we're changing off-season, in-season, they're not the same things. But our sport is changing. We need to change with it. Our sport was really cool because of the trading deadline. Our sport is not going to trade like it used to. And I think, and I'm trying to do a public service announcement here. Don't have high expectations. If something great, if a lot happens, we celebrate it, we enjoy it, we cover it. I'm just going to tell you, public service announcement, don't have high expectations. Our sport is changing. These wild cards, as we just mentioned, the Mets are only 3.5 games out. Last night, I'm cruising around. There's a big article on MLB.com about the polar bear. Are they going to trade him? I don't know. They may not. They're only 3.5 games back. You're a winning streak away from being right in the last wild card. It's going to be tough for teams to throw up the white flag. Owners don't like to do it because that means they're going to make less money in the second half. And with everybody still in the wild card, and I think that will be the genius thing about the wild card, is that it keeps so many teams, so many fan bases fired up and in it. But the problem is it's going to affect the trading deadline. So everybody's going to sell us this trading deadline. And, everybody's top needs, buyers, sellers, and there may not be that much. Kind of like the offseason. We sat at the winter meetings going like this in Nashville, twiddling our thumbs. Nothing's happening, and nothing happened. The biggest deal came as everybody left. Our sport, owners are not going to want us. There's going to be certain guys, a Shohei Ohtani is going to get paid. Yamamoto was going to get paid. Most of the guys anymore are not going to get paid. They talked about two of the biggest contracts right now meeting up this weekend against each other. Lindor against Nando, as our pregame show liked to call him.
Nando's hot, though. So
yeah, but if you ask the Padres if we could get out of that deal right now, what do you think they'd say?
Probably yes. Same with Machado.
So
and Bogarts.
I mean, there's a lot of teams who are not going to be in on the $300 million contracts. So hot stove league is not going to be as hot as it used to be. You're seeing tightening of the purses going, there's no point to sign guys to these contracts. And then when you don't sign them, Scott Boras bitches and complains, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, look what happened in the end. They all took basically 2 to 3 year deals. These guys went from expecting $200 million, these contracts that are amazing, to all the teams going, yeah, no, we're not going to do it. And Boras complained, and what they all do in the end, they signed 2-3 year deals. So you think anything's going to change this offseason? You've already seen, you called their bluff. Okay, go ahead, sign somewhere else. There's 30 teams out there, Matt Chapman. There's 30 teams out there, Jordan Montgomery. There's 30 teams out there, Cody Bellinger, Blake Snell. Sign with whoever you want. But when no one signs you, we'll be sitting here and we got a nice little 2-year deal for you. And they all took it.
That's why this offseason, I just saw our good friend Kylie McDaniel just did a piece on ESPN.com about Juan Soto and his contract. They did the same thing with Aaron Judge, the same thing with Towny. How much money is he going to get? And everyone's saying, $500 million. Unless it's deferred like the Dodgers, he's not getting $500 million. Unless the Dodgers somehow get him a contract and defer all the money to him too, I don't see him getting $500 million.
Aaron Judge is a Hall of Fame talent, and he had basically 3 offers.
Padres, Giants, Yankees?
He had 3 offers. Of the 30 teams, Hall of Fame talent, you had 30 teams went, I'll get in this game. And in the end, he was just going to sign with the Yankees anyway. It was worthless. And in the end, the Yankees just had their price being knocked up. Like now, we're going to have to go through all that, and we know Juan Soto is going to sign with the Yankees. I have a hard time thinking Juan Soto is going to say, I want to be a Met or I want to be a Blue Jay, but there's not many teams that are going to want to sign him. So we have to get used to our sport is changing. We have people that are not into risk running our organizations, risk adverse. Okay. And when you have really smart people who are really into numbers, I know I've said this before, I don't want to be a broken record, but we don't have old school Billy Bean riverboat gambler types. Those kind, Jack McKeon. Jerry DiPoto may still be that guy, former player, but you've got a lot of these guys that they're not into risk. These front office guys are into their data, and they're not going to have the big, we're going to 3-team deal, and how does this work out? But just the big, bold trades, probably not going to happen. And the big, bold signings, I don't know. Like guys that you think they're going to get huge monster deals. Bobby Witt Jr. just signed. Julio Rodriguez just signed. Juan Soto's been the one guy who has said, all right, I'm going to go for it all. And we'll see what that means. We saw 4 guys last year go for it all, came up short. And it probably will be funny again as we'll watch the Yankees probably negotiate against themselves, and go ahead sign Juan Soto. And we'll see how it works out long term. Have any of the Yankees long-term deals? I don't know. Was Mark Teixeira a great signing long-term? Was Alex Rodriguez a great signing long-term? Derek Jeter was a homegrown guy, so he's different. But when they've brought guys in and done long-term deals, have they been buying bonanzas for them?
You brought up a good point. The one guy I need to look at more would be CeCe.
Got a championship out of it.
He was bad towards the end, though, right?
Bad towards the end. Remember, he had the issues off the field and he left the team. I mean, a lot of people equate a championship. Well, you won a championship, so that makes it all worth it. And you're like,
Had a couple of good years, and then he was bad for a couple. Then his last couple of years weren't bad. I mean,
he was
ERA's under 4. His last year was bad, but 3 years before his last year, he had ERA's under 4.
You signed him to be an ace.
Yeah, you can sign him to have an ERA at 3.95.
Yeah, 3.95. Hey, he gave us some innings and he won 9 games. That's not what. It's hard, right? That's why these long-term deals, teams, because of their data departments, are telling them, don't sign them. Don't. Whatever you do, stay away. They're bad long-term. They're bad investments. I mean, who in life says, I want a long-term investment? Well, 1 year it's going to be good, but for the entirety of the investment, it won't be that great. Who signs up for that with your portfolio?
I'm going to go with no one.
So why would we expect baseball teams to do it? They're bad deals. So what I'm saying is don't expect a lot. If they happen, great. We'll cover it. But I'm not going to get caught up into allowing Cody to text me all these athletic articles. Hey, the top need of every team.
I sent you that one because I was a little taken back by what Jim Bone said about us.
You're going to send me ESPN, CBS Sports, I'm not getting into all the trade fodder. I'm not. It's boring because a lot of it's not going to happen. It's like every team's need in the offs, the top three needs for, and teams are changing how they do business, and we have to accept it. Otherwise, we're just falling into the trap. Like Mike Farron today, you told us, our buddy from SiriusXM is Lucas Ursig. It's so funny how people look at our players and start talking about our players. I got to do with it on the post-game show. We act like everybody's going to be calling for our players. Let's just go to Lucas Ursig for a moment. And I love Lucas because his story is great. But can we just slow down on Lucas Ursig? This is a guy that has pitched in 72 games.
Yeah.
Right? 72 games for his career. He's sporting a 3.57 ERA right now. Who in their right mind thinks, by the way, I have no idea what the times are for anybody. What are the times?
No, our first guess isn't until 3.
Okay.
They're all in the last hour plus.
Do you people really think that the baseball nerds who are crunching all the numbers, notice I'm leaning forward for effect. Do you feel the effect? Do you think I talked to a baseball nerd today, Eno Saris, who gave us that name for his people. He calls them baseball nerds.
He did write very highly of Mitch Spence in his article, though.
Spin in it, the Spin Doctor, Mitch Spence.
That and his Stuff Plus is really good.
Was there a band back in the day, the Spin Doctors?
Yes, actually there was. Aren't they the ones? What song did they do? Finish your thing, and I'll find the.
Oh no, I'm now off the rails. There was the Spin Doctors. What did they sing?
Two Princes, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong, but
Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. Okay, all right.
And Two Princes. Oh, okay.
Don't remember that. But there were Mitch Spence is the new Spin Doctor. He doesn't throw any. I mean, the only thing he hardly ever throws it is a two-seam. Mitch Spence is basically how baseball's changing. Don't throw anything straight unless you're throwing it to the A's. Yeah, the A's, we have the lowest batting average in baseball on fastballs. Did you know that?
I didn't until you told me, but I figured it would be kind of high.
Yeah, we're the lowest on fastballs, and we're also the worst percentage contact team. We make the least amount of percentage. We make the least amount of contact of any team in baseball.
That's not a recipe for success.
I mean, if you're in another sport, like you put the ball in the hoop, like in basketball, if the goal is to put the ball in the basket, you put the ball in the basket the least amount of times.
That's a good way to explain it. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But you do hit 3-pointers.
So it's like us in home runs.
Correct.
We hit home runs.
See the analogy? See? You can use other sports to explain it. The ball going in the hoop, least amount of times, but every once in a while you'll hit a chunk of threes, which, by the way, you will not win basketball games doing that.
Probably not. No.
Yeah, we're worst against the fastball, and we don't make a lot of contact. We're a little better against off speed, but we are not good against the fastball. And our young guys are not good against the fastball. I don't know why teams don't pound us with fastballs.
And teams are throwing fastballs less.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at the numbers, if I'm playing against the A's, I'm 4-seaming all day. I mean, you're actually giving the A's an opportunity by throwing breaking balls, speeding up their bats.
Yeah.
I'd be coming fastball. But Mitch Spence, you don't see anything straight. The only time he throws a fastball, which he doesn't throw it very often, is a two-seamer, which is moving. Mitch Spence is slicing and dicing. I love me some Mitch Spence. Going today, by the way, Mitch Spence, a 3.12 ERA since moving into the rotation. Remember, the guys he's replaced had 5 ERAs.
I did that for you because we've been talking about that. In the 18 games since Ross Stripling last pitched, so his last start was on May 24th. Alex Wood was May 12th. So May 24th, Ross Stripling's last start.
All
so
right.
the 25th through now, that's 18 games. The A's have a 3.62 ERA. That's the 12th best span in baseball. When they had Wood and Stripling in the rotation, it was 4.83 for their starters.
Paging. Towny.
Yeah.
Towny. George in San Francisco loves him some Dr. Emo. How do you not give Scott Emerson credit?
Yeah, I mean, everything they've done, even like Hogan Harris, the turnaround Hogan Harris has had, from last year to this year is incredible. I don't know. I'm trying to find the drops. I have so many things in here that I don't know where they are.
You need to get your act together. Drops are a big part of our business.
Towny. Do. Paging. Dr. Emo.
Towny.
Towny.
He's the best. George
Towny.
in San Francisco is the best.
Towny.
All right. I got to hear that in the postgame show.
The data doesn't lie.
So, for some reason, there is a belief amongst our world that Lucas Erceg, and I guess our friend Mike Farron from SiriusXM believes this too. Maybe it goes back to what C.J. Nikowski said a long time ago when he was with the Rangers. We know our teams better than everybody else. They're not following it every day. Lucas Erceg threw 50 games last year, figuring it out. He had a 4.75 ERA. That's awful for a reliever. But we said he's figuring out, he's learning. He's a position player learning to pitch. I guess they don't follow that. He throws hard. Well, he has a 4.75 ERA. Now, Lucas Erceg, his save in Baltimore was great. We know he's got a changeup. He now has a breaking ball. Lucas Erceg in 22 games has a 3.57 ERA. That's horrible for a reliever. He's given up 3 home runs.
Oh, a lot of them have been. I can remember at least the last 2.
So do people out there really think that front offices are like, I can't wait to get a guy that has a 3.57 ERA and he's a position player learning how to pitch because I want to put that into high leverage situations and games that matter? You may say to yourself, I want that guy. Let me get my hands on him and my pitching data people on him. But right now, I need him to immediately go into high leverage situations, playoff-like games. You think everybody's coming for that? Or everybody's going to give up a big-time prospect for that?
So the reason why...
I'm not flipping Lucas Erceg for a bad prospect or a mediocre prospect. I'd rather hold on to him as he gets better and becomes better. And remember, he's 29. If I'm going to flip Lucas Erceg, I do it next year when hopefully he's more
seasoned.
I was about to say matured, but he's 29. That's a good word for it. He's more seasoned. He's marinated a little more in the offseason, and he's more seasoned, and he's better next year. I flip him next year at the age 30.
Yeah.
I can get something way better for him. Why would you trade him now? Mason Miller's getting hit, folks. I hate to tell you. I mean, everybody was like, sign him to a lifetime deal, and he's great. Like, no, Mason Miller, their value, if you are to ever flip them, will be later on. It won't be now. And that's what my whole point was. Like, who are you going to flip for what?
To who for what? Was that Ricky Waters that said that?
For who for what? The great Ricky Waters, former Niner great, but he was an Eagle at the time. Notre Dame Fighting Irish. For who? For what?
Yeah, the reason why I was listening to Power Alley this morning with Farron and our good friend Chris Jimenez.
Because you know what? They have to play the narrative. Everybody's going to get traded. Let's talk trades. And it's like, I don't know if that's happening, man.
Yeah, so they do a segment called their Power Brunch for people who don't listen, and they were doing the AL West. So obviously the last team we were talking about was the A's, and they're like, well, Lucas Erceg's back, and they need to get him right. And I feel and blah blah blah, and I feel like he's going to be the guy that gets traded because I think Farron goes, I think the A's long-term plan is they want to make Mason Miller a starter again.
First of all, you're just trying to figure out how he can stay healthy and pitch.
Yes, exactly.
Like, how could you at any point have real discussions going, well, maybe just maybe down the road? They knew Mason Miller would get hurt as a starter. We know that for a fact. But it was like, he's pitching great, bring him up, let's just see. They knew he'd get hurt. And guess what? He got hurt. To me, that is just very inaccurate. Mason Miller long-term, no one can project what Mason Miller is long-term. You have finally found a role where you feel he can throw and not get hurt. That's his role right now, right? We can give him nicknames and we can do all of that, and that's part of the entertainment side of the business, and that's great. Mason Miller's role is we found a place that he can play and not get hurt. If you think that projects to being a starter someday, I don't know how in God's name you could project that. And the fact that Paul Skeens is the greatest thing in the world, we're not going to allow him to go much over 100 pitches. The value of starting pitchers now. But to think that you're not going to move Mason Miller because he's going to be a starter someday, man, you're hoping you can't even rely on him to go back-to-back days. You're afraid to have him pitch a lot. Could that be the case? Could that be what Mason Miller wants? Yeah.
More money being a
but
starter.
I don't know how you possibly could. And when is that? 20 what?
Yeah.
What is that? 27, 26? Like, when are they really going to feel? Because you know what happens the first time Mason Miller goes out, tries to start again, ends up on the IL. It's going to be like, should have moved him from the bullpen.
Funny,
He has never shown he can be healthy.
I'm pretty sure we saw that same thing happen this year in South Florida with, what's that guy? AJ Puck. He was a starter and got hurt again. And he's back to being a reliever, I'm pretty sure.
So, case in point. To say that, you're not going to trade him because he could be they think he's going to be a starter. You're going to tell me if we had David Forrest on here and put a lie detector, you think he's going to be a guy that's going to give you 30 starts, 25 starts, and he's going to do it for years? I'm telling you right now, this front office is not really thinking long term. And I don't know how they could. There's so much uncertainty long-term with this franchise, and these guys in the front office don't have long-term contracts. So how could you really be thinking long-term as a front office guy with the A's? Like 2028. How do you know if you'll be here? I think you do have to, because that's the job. But, being like, I can't do anything with Mason Miller now because I see it by 2029, he's the Cy Young Award winner. Well, you think you're going to be there's too much uncertainty for that in the organization.
Cy Young Award winner. He'll be like 30 then, right? 2029. What is he?
How old?
I think he's 23 right now, right? Isn't Mason 23? He is. He's 25. He's older. He's going to be 26 in August.
So when is this starting thing going to happen? That Farron claims that he thinks I'd love to hear people from our front office say that one to me. I'd be like, huh? You sure? By the way, are you sure? Like, how could anybody have a crystal ball right now and give me the future of what's going to happen in 2-3 years?
You can't.
No way.
No, I'm just not
That's
just
crazy.
I'm not just talking about for us. I'm talking about for the entire sport. We have no idea what it's going to look like.
That's a good point, too. This sport's changing ever so fast. And how we deal with starting pitchers is changing. Like, if you're devaluing more and more every single year, like we've talked to you about the starting pitchers, what's the big gun going to be? What's your big gun going to be? A 5-inning guy?
Probably.
All right.
That's what
from the lineup today. Interesting from the lineup today. Max Schuemann is your leadoff hitter today. How do you feel about that?
You got to shake it up somehow. Toro has a day off, so you got to have someone else. Toro's batted leadoff like 46 times this year. So, I mean, he's mainly been the leadoff guy for the A's.
J.D. Davis is back in the lineup playing third against a right-handed pitcher.
Okay.
Can you trust someone with 3 names?
Oh, Simon Woods Richardson, the pitcher. So you're going with the 3
Can you
names?
trust a guy with 3 names?
Is that hyphenated? No, not even hyphenated. Wow. What trade was he in when they got him? I feel like he was traded to them.
Drafted by the Mets.
It was a Mets trade, yeah, but I can't remember who the deal was. I'd have to look it up, but I remember him coming from the Mets.
Can you trust a guy with 3 names?
I'll go no.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. But you got Schuemann in there today, leading off. Davis is batting 7th and playing third base. I mean, Seth Brown in there again. Wow. I just don't get it.
Well, lefty righty. I'm assuming that's obviously what they're doing.
I mean, he just continues to struggle. I mean, Seth Brown. Let's give you what Brownie has for the month here. See, I think that I've been doing that lately because that kind of gives you people a better idea. Like, okay, for the month, Seth Brown for the month is batting 192. Excuse me, 130.
Oh,
he's batting 192 right now. Seth Brown's hitting 130 in June. At some point,
I mean, you can't.
He hit 212 in May. He's hitting 130 in June, and you keep rolling him out there. That's why I feel bad for Kotz. I'm like, it's one thing when Gelof's not hitting, but Gelof's a young player. He'll swallow that. But Seth Brown hitting 130 in June, and you're still rolling him out there all the time. Like, what is the belief that all of a sudden it's just going to click? Is that the belief? It's hard, man. We're talking about people's jobs and their livelihood, but it's like, man. And I'll give you another guy who really struggles against the fastball, and you got to start really. Shea Langoliers, you take his numbers away against Texas, and by the way, he's hitting $171 in June. There's some guys that need to start hitting.
Rooker's not hitting in June either.
Oh, Rooker's hitting 130 in June. By the way, I saw this. Rooker in the last 8 games is batting $133. 1 RBI, 1 run scored. Both came on a solo home run. Rooker is back to doing what he did last year. Hot start. Everybody got excited. Talking all-star game. And then hits June and falls apart. He fell apart last year in June and July. Still made the all-star team. I mean, you can go down the line. But, I mean, Rooker, of course, I'm still playing. Because averages you still look at is 852 OPS, 258 batting average, okay. But right now, he is cold. But the Brown thing, it's a tough because everybody loves Brown. You drafted him. He's come through. He's like a leader in your clubhouse. It's a production-based business, and it's really tough because Brown is not producing. He's just not. And it's not like you go, yeah, but man, he plays a hell of a right field. He's looked slow.
Yeah.
His arm has looked weak.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even believe this guy not that long ago was playing in center field. So, that's some of the things going on in the lineup today. Max Schuemann going to be leading off. J.D. Davis back in there. I don't know, maybe J.D. Davis supplies a little pop, but he has been a major disappointment. Gelof's got to get it going. Good news, Soderstrom is in the lineup. Soderstrom is hot. He's 6 for 17, hitting .353 during his last 5-game hitting streak, and he has homered in 3 of the last 4 games. What you want to see, that's called progress.
Johnny D was on to something.
And we'll talk to Mark Kotsay about that. But an interesting note here, something that in baseball, we don't talk about it a lot, and it's scoring first. We've brought it up a couple times. I don't want to say we're ahead of the game when talking about certain topics, but all of a sudden on MLB Network today, they were talking about it.
Yeah, MLB Now was talking about teams and scoring first. I have the numbers here. Yeah. Okay. Most first inning runs scored this year in baseball. Here's the teams. Yankees, 57. They're pretty good. Phillies, 52. Pretty good. Diamondbacks, 49. They're 3
Diamondbacks
under.
are back, by the way. If you haven't checked, the Snakes, they were my adopted team. Was it 2 years ago or last year?
Last year.
They were my adopted team. I love me some Torey Lovello. Diamondbacks are back though. They are 32 and 36. They have won. They have found something. They are playing better baseball. There's no doubt about it.
So the Padres are next. They're back to being over 500. Luis Ariz and Jurickson Profile are both on MLB Network today. They have 48.
I wanted to give you my note because I actually highlighted the Snakes. I'm sorry. I just want D-backs. Corbin Carroll has reached base safely in 14 straight games. He is hitting .304 with a .793 OPS, which isn't great. It's good. You want 800 or better, especially for a star player. 4 extra base hits, 13 runs during that time. Christian Walker, 14 of his last 21 hits have gone for extra bases. So they're playing much better baseball. Only the Yankees, Reds, and Orioles have a better record in June than the D-backs, who are 8-4. And they have won 11 of 26 since May 4th. So June's been good for the D-backs. They're back in it.
Yeah, they're 3 under. What are they? 3 under. They're only like a game.
So what we're trying to show is every single team on here, other than the Marlins, is a really good or competitive team. They score first. What does that mean?
That they win, and I have the records for it as well. The Yankees, who have 57 runs scored in the first inning, they're 25-3 when they score in the first inning.
25-3.
Yeah. Phillies are 18-8.
All right.
Then you got the Cubs at 13-2, the Orioles at 12-3, and the Blue Jays are at 8-2. The MLB average is as a 63 winning percentage when scoring in the first inning.
So you can follow this multiple places, Fangraphs, Baseball Savant, that during the game, depending how the game's going, the win probability, right?
Sarah Langs does a great job of it on Twitter.
And it's just interesting because we don't think about scoring first in baseball. It's a long game. It's 9 innings. A lot can happen. We don't think about scoring first. A's are on obviously a bad run. Last 5 games, the A's have had the lead and lost the last 5 games. Doesn't happen a lot. But the A's scoring first, they're 7-5 this year.
7-5, yeah.
How's that only 7-5 scoring first? They've only scored first 12 times?
They've scored first, yeah. In the first inning, they've 17 first inning runs. So there's been multiple innings they've scored 2 runs.
God. So you know what? I said yesterday on the post-game show, I said, you know what? You need to change your philosophy. And who the hell am I to tell anybody? But you know what? You got to have – I mentioned Harbaugh because I sent you the thing about Harbaugh in the RV park.
Yeah.
Folks, Harbaugh at the RV park is like – it's so entertaining. He's so awkward. It's funny. Jim Harbaugh is in Huntington Beach living with Greg Roman, his offensive coordinator. Remember, Greg Roman was with him at Stanford.
And the Niners.
Greg Roman and him are living not together. They have different RVs. They're living in an RV park on the beach in Huntington Beach. And the latest video, CBSSports.com, they from their NFL site threw it out there yesterday on Instagram. Harbaugh meeting the RV neighbors. So they got camera crews, right? And he's just talking to people. He's like, "Hi, I'm Jim." They don't know who he is because these people are in, they're traveling. You know how there's an RV world out there.
Yeah.
Right. And there's RV parks and people go and they stay there for a couple days and there's pools. So Jim Harbaugh's meeting people. How you doing? I'm Jim. They've got no idea he's Jim Harbaugh.
Plus, you would never know the way he dresses. You would never know he's like.
But he wears Charger stuff. He has a Charger hat on, and Greg Roman has a Charger shirt. But they're sitting there drinking beers. Yeah, Jim Harbaugh. head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, living in an RV park. It is awesome. Harbaugh, I can never get it. But you know what Harbaugh does? Harbaugh changes the mentality. Harbaugh went into Stanford where, I'll say it again, Buddy Tevens and Walt Harris ran the program into the ground. Everybody said, well, no one at Stanford cares. It's academics. They don't care. They got so much money. And that the academic sides, they're never going to care. Harbaugh came in and changed that. He changed the mentality. He changed the mentality at USD, University of San Diego.
The Toreros.
He changed there. Then he goes to Stanford, which was on life support, and turns them into a BCS. Back when we had BCS games, winning the Orange Bowl, Stanford in the Orange Bowl, he changed the mentality. Niners were a disaster. He went in and he changed the mentality. Don't tell me you can't change the mentality of the business and the team and the players.
Don't shortchange. You brought Michigan back.
Can do it. So that's why I'm change the mentality. Play for one run. Get me a run. First inning. We're going to do everything we can to get a run. We're playing balls out, boys. We are running everything. Eric Martins, you got to be the Mike Gallego. Remember we had the Mike Gallego?
The windmill.
It was not a bobblehead. It was an action figure.
It was hand. Yeah, it was
right.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We are taking not pitches. We're taking bags. We're taking everything we can. We are playing at a clip that's unbelievable. If we lose, so be it. You're losing anyway. And stop taking so many damn pitches. Go up there hacking, see ball, hit ball. Now, the data team is going to tell me I'm an idiot, and they're going to tell me there's no way. We are going to play the way we play. I would scrap that, and I would be like, we are ultra aggressive. We become the ultra aggressive. The fact that we're the lowest hitting team on fastballs is a joke. We are now going to hunt fastballs. Hunt them. We're not going to sit around. You want to take pitches? Because we're all, take pitches, walks. Problem is you're getting into 2 strike counts. You're getting into pitchers counts, and you're striking out. By the way, daily update. Where are we, Mariners and us, on strikeouts? We took the lead yesterday, but the Mariners played at night.
Well, Crochet struck out 13, so the Mariners is back in the lead.
Are they? By how much?
Mariners
back in the
713. They're ahead by 17.
Remember, Mariners fired their offensive coordinator. And I know that sounds odd. Mariners fired their offensive coordinator. So we offensively need to start making some contact. And we need to start hunting some fastballs. And we need to be aggressive. Because you wait to get into pitchers counts. What happens? How many strikeouts we got? It's June 14th.
696.
696. What are we on pace for?
Oh, I'd have to go and do that.
I mean, what's the all-time A's record for strikeouts?
Well, that's a good question. I'd have to.
This is an extreme. I mean, I got to think you're going to K 4 times tonight. So I put you at 700.
Let's just see. This isn't always fairly accurate. But we played 71 games, right?
Yeah.
We're on pace for 1,588 strikeouts.
At some point, you've got to make a change.
Well, Stu called me.
Dave Stewart.
Yeah, he just called me out. So I'll text him, see if everything's okay.
Well, if Stu needs to go now, we go now. Whatever Dave Stewart wants. I'm really looking forward to talking to Stu about the trade deadline and talking to Stu, the GM, about what would he do right now with the A's. Because there's a lot of people that have opinion. When you're losing, a lot of people have opinions on how you should be going about your business. You're 71 games in, right? You are who you are right now. How do you start to change things up? What do you do?
He asked if I love that you can read the voicemail now.
Yeah.
He asked if we were in the studio at NBC. I'm like, no. We're your house. I sent him the link earlier, so I told him he has the link in his email.
Is he? Well, he hasn't been here all season. Is he actually here?
I don't think so, because he's been doing all over video.
Yeah. So how Dave Stewart, and then also we got to get to Dave Stewart, the pitching coach and the pitcher. Stu, how do we get from using all these pitchers? How do we change that?
We got to look at that.
Because this may be the tipping point this year. Because 863 pitchers used last year in baseball, we may hit the tipping point this year where baseball just goes, wow, we got to change. We may. You able to see where we're at right now?
So I'm going to say we're 6:55 yesterday. The daily update, 6:56. So he's another new pitcher last night.
Another new guy was in the league.
Do we have a new leaderboard? Or is the leaderboard still the same two teams? Still Marlins and Brewers at 28, followed closely by us and the Dodgers at 27.
Yeah, because you can't say, well, that's just bad teams. Brewers are in first place. They use 28 pitchers. Dodgers are first place. They've used 27. And the Yankees are not far behind that. So this is not like good versus bad, right? Kind of like what we dealt with back in the day where teams have no starting pitching. They're the only teams that use the opener. And then all of a sudden the Astros used it, and that was out the door. Now, once the Astros were using it, Astros got Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander and Zach Greinke in there. They're now using the opener.
Oh, I did see something. Speaking of the Astros, not to go out, I did see someone post this on Twitter earlier.
Oh, we haven't even mentioned the big news today.
Yeah. Jose Abreu cut. He's still owed over $30 million by the Astros. But I saw someone put out on X that Dana Brown said that the team's going to be buyers and they're looking at starting pitchers. Now, I know they've been ravaged by starting pitcher injuries, but to sign Jose Abreu a few years ago and for him to finish the year before being cut by the Astros hitting 124 with 2 home runs. And hold on, don't quote me. His OPS plus league average is 100. It was 4. You're
talking about a 37-year-old player in 35 games hit 124. 124. His on-base percentage was 167. His slug was 195 for an OPS of 361. OPS plus 4. 100 is league average. 4.
So it's only 96 under.
I didn't realize someone could be that bad. And he's terrible defensively.
And you're forgetting that he went down to the complex league to try to figure out how to swing again this year for the Astros. So he's now gone. I don't think Kyle Tucker's off the injured list just yet, so they're playing without him still.
Do you believe somebody will say, you know what? We need a body in here.
Are you asking me, the baseball fan, or are you asking me? I think someone will, actually, because the Astros are paying his contract. So if the Astros are paying for his contract, why wouldn't you bring him in? You have flyer.
Why is Road Trip Mike calling me?
Does he not know we're on the air?
Yeah. It is absolutely embarrassing right now that Road Trip Mike is calling me live during A's Cast Live. Road Trip Mike, why are you calling me?
Well, I'm calling you because I got notified about the documentary that they want to do an interview with you on the 21st.
You can't wait until A's Cast Live is over?
Well, I got screwed up by the time difference.
Are you in Minnesota right now?
Yeah, I'm at the ballpark right now.
How's the weather? How's the weather in Minnesota?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's been a nice day all day.
Can you guys hear Road Trip Mike? I put it up. I got you live on the show right now, Road Trip.
Okay.
People can hear you.
We can call him.
Well, I'll tell you this. The weather has been beautiful. There's some concerns
There you go.
about tomorrow.
Okay, here we go. Let's start over again. I screwed up. How's the weather in Minnesota, Road Trip?
Weather has been a beautiful day all day. We are at the ballpark right now. We just finished a pregame tour. It's a beautiful park and lots of really nice people here and great weather. They are talking about rain tomorrow, and possibly a delay about a doubleheader on Sunday.
On Father's Day?
Yes.
Oh my God, you sons of So Pete, so they're doing a documentary on Road Trip's life and him on the road. You're saying they want to interview me about this?
Yes, on the 21st, they're going to be at the game in Sacramento, and so will I. I'll be there the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And they want to interview you and talk to you and make you a part of the documentary, because we want to make it about the love for baseball and the people and how everybody want to be a part of baseball. What you do with the show to spread.
Now you want the star power of A's Cast. That's what you guys want. You want the star power of A's Cast to promote your documentary. You're using us, Road Trip.
Hey, you're the one that started by naming me.
All right, I got to go. I got to do the show. I got to go.
We should have just called him on the phone. No, we should.
Now they want it. So Road Trip's got these guys have had like 30 for 30s. These guys are like legit who are doing a documentary on Road Trip.
I still don't know if he got that A's Cast hat made or not yet.
Huh?
When he was in Atlanta, he asked me for the A's Cast logo because he wanted to get a hat made.
Oh, really?
So, like, I had my wife's little cousin wearing the A's Cast friend of the program.
Do you think you could just make me sing and dance like I'm just some dance boy dance? What's in it for me?
My question is how. So, if he's going to be at our ballpark? I thought I heard him say Sacramento. So, I guess we're going to be doing it over Zoom or something.
I don't know. I'm just pissed he's not listening to the show.
He'll be on. Don't worry, he'll call post game tonight.
What should I ask? Hey, can you be in the documentary? I'm like, well, if you're going to use my likeness, haven't we learned from the players in the NCAA? Where's my nil money?
Yeah,
I got kids going to college. I don't know if you know this, college isn't cheap.
Especially here.
I got 2 kids going to college at the same time. Hey, Towny, why do you sit there and take all those phone calls every night? I got 2 kids going to college.
By the way, I think Stu is going to be good to join us. He liked my message, so I think that means he.
All right, coming up next, he's an A's Hall of Famer, an A's great. You love him, I love him. The great Dave Stewart joins us next right here on A's Cast Live.
We're almost halfway through baseball season, and there's no better time to build your collection of Topps trading cards. Topps packs feature everything from top stars, rookies, game-used memorabilia, and autographs from players around the league, as well as special inserts and surprises. Visit your local hobby shop, retailers, and Topps.com to collect the newest product of the season, Topps Baseball Series 2. Follow @Topps on social media to join the conversation and start sharing your collection today.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, step up to the plate with Xfinity Internet. Get the fastest speeds and low-lag streaming for an incredible viewing experience that knocks it out of the park. And you'll have a consistent connection with reduced buffering and freezing, so you can stay in all the action inning after inning. When it's game time, make sure to catch it all with internet that's powerful and reliable. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Many factors affect speed. For factors affecting speed, visit xfinity.com/network management.
Whether it's a midweek trip to the ballpark to catch a game or a weekend of baseball for the family, grab your tickets for an A's game this season. Secure your seats today for all the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on all the things happening this season.
Rose and Seth. It's a drive into center. It's deep, and Straw is back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
So grab yours now at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Hi, fans. This season, Kingsford Capital Management is the official hedge fund sponsor of the Oakland A's. At Kingsford, down to business is their way of seeing the world. Investing has its pitfalls, treacherous chasms of half-truth and despair. Kingsford's mission is to create opportunity through application of proven innovation and entrepreneurial focus with trust, tenacity, loyalty, and growth, establishing a strong reputation as a proven intendant and validated bedrock of American finance. Kingsford Capital, down to business.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
This is Chris Townsend. I'm proud to announce our year 2 partnership with Link Soul. They've changed my wardrobe, and they can do the same for you. And right now, their spring collection is fabulous. Natural fabrics and versatile styles, perfect for this time of the year. And they want to introduce their performance line for golf, premium for on-course apparel design, and to keep you cool and dry. Check it all out, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com. Remember, look good, play good.
With more sunshine returning, it's time to get outside and make the most of what Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Like 27 championship caliber holes tucked in the beautiful hills of San Jose. And take advantage of their amazing Bay Area views for your next special event. It's all for you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club, an award-winning venue designed to peacefully take you away from the bustle of Silicon Valley. Go to CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Being a Chevron car these days has been quite the adventure. Miami to Seattle, ocean to ocean. I've stopped at so many states and collected so many bumper stickers. Sometimes I feel like a moving passport book. It's just so great what I can do with Chevron with Techron, because it gives me unbeatable mileage and keeps my engine clean. Plus, there are so many Chevrons along the way. Now the only thing I'm worried about is where to go next and where to put all my new bumper stickers. Chevron with Techron, fueled by possibility.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
If you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see our friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
And the underdog Oakland Athletics win their first championship since they were in Philadelphia in 1930.
Hi, I'm Raleigh Fingers, Hall of Famer, 3-time World Series champion with the Oakland A's and World Series MVP. Winning takes teamwork, skill, and heart. So when you need an ace for a personal injury lawyer that will win you the game, go with the winning team. Call Venardi Zerata at 833-VZ-for-me or go to vzlawfirm.com. Venardi Serrata, the official injury law firm of the Oakland A's.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
Streaming from the studio, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Got to talk to Stu also about the 1974 team we're going to be honoring.
It's a couple weeks from now.
Because Stu obviously grew up in Oakland watching these guys play. When is it?
I think it's June. It's next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
So it'll be the 20, right? June 23rd. Because today's the 14th, so 23rd.
I got to be honest. If they pull the plug tomorrow and throw a doubleheader on Father's Day, that is just worst case scenario. My God.
I'm with you. They should have a roof on the.
Oh. I mean, it's bad enough it's an 11 o'clock game that it's going to be just out throughout midday. So by the time you get done with post game, dinner with the family, it's kind of, but come on, a double header on Father's Day? Not good. But we will, a lot to get into with Dave Stewart. I really want to get into like how he sees the trading deadline changing, right? It's changing. So I told you that I've been looking at these numbers, and I don't want to depress you, but where the A's are right now, we're lowest in hitting the fastball. We're lowest in batting average at 232. We are on base percentage against the fastball. We are 28th. Slug against the fastball, 30, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 20. We're 22. We're 22nd in baseball in slug against the fastball, just ahead of the San Francisco Giants. Yeah, the Giants aren't that hot either. OPS, we're tied for 25th. With who?
OPS tied for 25th. Not the Giants.
The Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh, they don't score anything. They don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to figure out why teams don't score runs. So are we better against the breaking ball? Against non-fastballs, the A's hit 206. We are we're 26th.
Not great.
Not great. We are on base percentage against non-fastballs. We're 29th. Slug, we go up. We go way up. We're 19th in slug against non-fastballs. That's the home runs, right? You'll see there's like certain things that we're not. It's because we hit some home runs.
I think we have, what are we at now, home run wise? I think it's like 80 home runs and 40 of them are solo. 80 home runs, 43 solo.
We're 21st in OPS against non-fastballs in OPS.
I think we might just have to give Stu a call on the phone.
Well, we're not getting him on video?
He's saying that the email's not, the link's not showing up in his email. I sent it to him twice. So I'll just give him a call.
All right. Dave Stewart, sorry for the
I don't know if he's there or not yet. Let me see.
Call has
No, he's not there. So I'll wait for him to text me back. Theater of doing live radio.
We're streaming.
And streaming.
We're
Yes.
streaming.
Sorry.
We're not on the A's radio network.
Not yet, at least.
Okay, so we'll wait for Dave Stewart. I can get this out of the way. Dave Stewart, 3-time World Series champion, World Series MVP, 2-time ALCS MVP, Roberto Clemente Award winner, which I think he's most proud of, in 1990, led the league AL in wins in 1987. We've just talked about his no-hitter on June 29th against the Toronto Blue Jays in 1990. He is in the Athletics Hall of Fame. His number 34 is retired. He is a former pitching coach. He's a former GM, assistant GM, and a former agent.
We have him.
It's truly a baseball life. And I did tell the story on TV when he was not there. Do we have him?
Yeah.
Dave Stewart. Dave, how are you? Dave, can you hear me?
I can't hear you, Tony.
We can't hear him.
Okay. I'll tell him to leave and rejoin. Usually, like, if someone calls, it's a...
Yeah.
All right. We'll effort to get him back.
Well, I told the story of his no-hitter in Toronto. He said it was the worst bullpen he's ever had. And Dave Duncan even said it was the worst bullpen. Like, normally, I guess Dunk would never say, how bad your bullpen was. But he, asked him, are you all right? And it just goes to show that it's just a warm-up.
Let's see if we got him now.
All right.
I got you now.
Are you there?
I got you now.
I think he's on mute.
Let's see if he's there.
Dave, can you hear me?
I can hear you good, yeah.
Oh, there we go. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How about you? Sorry for the delay. I had some technical difficulties on this side. I'm sorry.
I was doing this show when we were talking about on NBC. You weren't there that day, and we were talking about your no-hitter in Toronto. I told the story with Shooty Babbitt how horrific your bullpen warm-up was, and when you were walking back to the dugout, how even Dave Duncan, your pitching coach, was even like, man, you all right? What's going on? And then you go out and you throw a no-hitter.
Not only did I do that, but I walked the first two guys that I faced, by the way, which, would almost put a stamp on what Dave Duncan was saying to me while I was walking into the dugout, which Dave said, I can't believe that you're going to go out there and try to get people out with that stuff. But he didn't use the word stuff.
And you remember back, that was a really good Toronto Blue Jays team, too, that hit.
It's a very good team, and even more difficult pitching on artificial surface and, pitching in that ballpark. And Cito used to stack just about every lefty he could in his lineup. The only righty that normally played against me would be George Bell.
George Bell, former American League MVP. I wanted you, because, I tell everybody your baseball life is truly amazing. Because so many people think about the player, but you think about everything that you've done, from accomplished pitching coach, general manager, assistant GM, agent, soon-to-be owner. You've done so many different things in our game. And I think what's fascinating at this time of the year is we're in mid-June is, all right, you got to start figuring out where you're at for the trading deadline. You got to start figuring out, are you a buyer? Are you a seller? Or are you one of those tweener teams? So as a general manager, kind of take us through right now, whether you're a buyer or we'll get to the tweener teams after, but either as a buyer or a seller, what's the process like getting ready for the trading deadline? Because there's a lot of people that need to be scouted. There's a lot of names that need to be thrown back and forth, and you got to decide really who you are and what you want to accomplish.
Well, if you're a seller, you have to figure out what players are available. And what I mean by that is most sellers are going to try to hold on to their contract control players, first year, second year, arbitration eligible players. So players that you can hold on to for, 3 years of arbitration, and then you've got another 3 years before you're a free agent. Most sellers will release those players or make them available for trade, usually in that fifth year, before their free agency. And then any players that are veteran players that have value, those players all become available for the trade. What you're doing internally is you're looking at the top 15 prospects for each organization. You go through all of their top prospects, and the players that you have available, you try to figure out what the best match for those players are. So when you get the phone call from, a team like the Dodgers, and they ask for, if they ask for one of your veteran guys that has impact, let's just use the name Andujar from the A's as an example, who right now is having a very good offensive year. You try to find out what the match is for Andujar. Is it a 2-player match? Can you get 3 players? Most teams are not going to give up their number 1 prospect for an Andujar, but you may be able to get a 3. You may be able to get a 3, a 6, and a 10 for an Andujar. For a guy that you get 1 year of arbitration eligibility left, plus free agency, and you get some time to maybe even figure out if you can put them on a long-term deal, those players have a little bit more value, and you can maybe ask for more from a team for that player. And, if you give him up 2 years before he's free agent ready, the value is even more. The teams that are buyers, most teams, if they're being honest with themselves, they're going to be looking for the best pitching that they can possibly get out there to put at the top part of their rotation. You're not looking for backhand guys. You're looking for guys that give you some length to your rotation and make you almost unbeatable in a short series, which that's what the playoffs are. So you have to be willing to, you have to look at what you're willing to give up to bring that type of player to your organization, and who are the untouchables in your organization, and who aren't. Now, most organizations, they look at their prospects. Most organizations value their prospects greatly, and it's really tough to pull them away from your organization. And there are some organizations, and I would say that Dave Dombrowski over with Philadelphia values winning a championship more than he does a prospect. And so Dave will look at the prospect, but he also does a very good job, obviously, by the number of championships he's won, by the number of World Series he's been in. He does a good job of evaluating if this is the player that puts him over the top to getting to that opportunity to win a World Series. And you have to admire that about a Dave Dombrowski, because a lot of organizations are not very thoughtful in what they're doing when they get to the trade deadline. And I don't know if it's Perry Manazium or if it's Artie Moreno, but when you had an opportunity to give up Shohei Ohtani and pretty much stack your minor league system, you have to make that trade, and that did not happen. And so those are the variables to not get long-winded about this, because it's a very, very detailed process when you get to that point of the year.
We've got 7 teams right now in the National League that are under 500, all within 3.5 games or less of that last wild card. That's 7. It's a lot of teams that are still in it, but they're all under 500. I start thinking about, Dave, when you're, what am I? Right now I'm kind of in limbo. It's mid-June. Should I be a buyer? Should I be a seller? Obviously, owners don't like to sell because that's going to hurt the bottom line in attendance in the second half. What do I want to give up as a team that's under 500 right now, but I still got a shot? We all saw the Diamondbacks last year win 84 games and go to the World Series, so everybody's got a chance. What is it like when you're that team that's kind of in the middle zone? Am I a buyer or I'm a seller? What should I do?
Well, you look at, I think the best example of what you're talking about, even though they're now 2 games over 500, let's take the Padres as an example, where you've got Musgrove, he's out, and he's got a chance to come back. Hugh Darvish is out, he's got a chance to come back. And so when you've got players that are out and have a chance to play and be healthy in the second half of the season, then you have to try to figure out, well, what are my needs? And am I truly evaluating my team? And if we get in the playoffs, what are our chances to move in the playoffs towards contention? The Giants are a few games below 500. They're an organization that, once again, they've got to do a good job of evaluating where they are, who's out, what makes them, a contending team, what makes them a championship caliber team. And so it's really, you're gathering. In my time, we gather all of my scouts, my pro scouts. We put together my brain trust, and we really have to do a good job of self-evaluation of our organization. And we have to come out with the real answer. And if the cost is too much to get to that inroad, then you don't necessarily sell. But because you can also use the trade deadline as a time to build and add to your organization for the upcoming year. So there's different variables.
Now I want you to put the agent hat on. How do the agents all affect it?
Well, the agent only got a player that got a no trade that is with a team that's not going anywhere, and that team wants to trade that player to another organization. And that player may have a no trade with a year left on his contract or 2 years left on his contract. So the player, the agent only plays in that role in trying to assist that player in getting a long-term deal in the trade.
Okay. Now, I start thinking about the A's, where the A's are, the pieces they may have. If you were looking at the A's coming up here, obviously they're not going to be buyers. They're going to be sellers. What do they really have to sell? Should you sell now with older guys, or even with the younger guys? Or with the younger guys, do you hold them and maybe move them at a later date where they may have more worth? How would you handle the A's situation?
Well, if you sell a guy now, this early before the deadline, then you've got to a team coming to me have to overpay. Otherwise, I'm going to wait as long as I can to get the best value I can for any of the players that I may be talking about in a trade. But if you come to me now, then you're going to have to overpay to be. So I, as an organization, feel that I got the best value for the player that I'm trading.
Do you see the A's having a lot of pieces?
They've got, in my opinion, I think if you look at the different players that are on the club, they do have some pieces that other organizations will come after. They've got, in my opinion, and I don't want to say names because I think that's the improper thing to do, but you can look at their core of position players, and they've got a pretty good core of position players that are having productive years this year that could be helpful to another organization. You've got a few pieces in your bullpen that could be helpful, but in my opinion, if you trade anything out of your bullpen, I think it's an overpay with the exception of a few, because a lot of those guys in the pen are still arbitration eligible and contract control pitchers.
Let's put the pitching coach and pitching great hat on. Last year we used a total of 863 pitchers. I mean, it blows away, Dave, from when you used to play. 863 different guys pitched in Major League Baseball. And right now we're on pace to go over 1,000. Could this possibly be the year where we finally say, guys, we got to get back to training starting pitchers to go deeper in games? There's just not enough human beings to pitch or quality enough to pitch in Major League Baseball. Those numbers got to be astounding to you.
Well, they are very much astounding. Towny, in my time, even in my last year of Major League Baseball, which would have been 1995, we only carried 11 pitchers on our staff. And, we were still using on off days a 4-man rotation. And there were days when we would only go with 4 starters during the course of the year. And I think as a staff, I would have to say that we were averaging at least 7 innings per start. And so I think organizations are going to have to start evaluating what they're doing with pitching, what is happening. It's not affecting the starting pitching. The damage is happening to the relievers. The relievers are the ones that are carrying the bulk of this, and they're the ones whose careers are going to be very short at the rate that they're being used. And so I think at some point you're going to have to start evaluating how you get your starters to go a little bit further in the game, how you bring back complete games. And that really comes down to, a guy like Skeens, for example, you see this guy, he's a big, strong kid, and he's capable of carrying a workload. His last outing, he was at 103 pitches. It got him through 7 innings. Last night, the kid that pitched against us last night with Minnesota gets into the 7th inning, and he had less than 100 pitches. And so I think the focus really has to go back to getting out versus striking people out. And if you do that, that really solves your problem with the pitching situation.
Take me back. You got 68 pitches. It's early in the game. But all of a sudden, Dave Stewart's got to go through the lineup a third time, and they're now used to you. And Tony La Russa is going to come out and take the ball from you, and you only got 68 pitches. How would have that played out?
Well, it wouldn't have played out because, first of all, you didn't see everything I had by the 5th inning. I always kept a bullet or two in my back pocket, and I tell people this all the time, and Steiny will testify to this. Is I pitched the first 5-6 innings just throwing 4-seam fastballs and mixing in a breaking ball every now and then, and obviously I had to use my forkball. But from the 6th inning on, you'd see 2-seam fastballs, you'd see more first pitch breaking balls, and then I would start using my forkball in 2 directions versus 1. So I always had another bullet or two that got me further into the game. Now, how does Major League Baseball, how do the affiliates get to that position with their pitching now? You have to teach guys when to command their fastballs both sides of the plate. And if you can get your guys to command their fastballs both sides of the plate and use both 2-seam and 4-seam fastball, it gets you deeper in the game just by having those 2 extra pitches, not to mention pitching at the top of the zone, up and away, up and in, down and away, and down and in. That's 4 pitches in itself. Then you add 2-seam. That's another pitch you add to your repertoire. And then when you learn to command your fastball, it gets you deeper in the game, and you can save some of those bullets for later in the game because you're not having to show all of everything that you have within the first 4 or 5 innings. Most guys are showing everything they have in the first 3 innings now.
First inning. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So let you say that.
Yeah. Speaking of Terry, how great is it going to be to see him go into the A's Hall of Fame this year?
He's deserving. He is so deserving of being in that A's Hall of Fame. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be amazing to see Steiny in that Hall of Fame.
And I want to get your take on the 1974 team. We're going to be honoring them soon. I mean, you're like an A's historian because not only did you live and do all the playing in A's history, but you grew up as a kid watching this team. And unfortunately, we've lost so many of them. But just how great will it be to see these guys? I don't know how many more years we're going to have honoring these teams. I mean, this is truly one of the great teams of all time. Just what does that mean to you honoring the 1974 team?
Let's face it, we're all older, that's for sure. Vida's gone now. Sal Bando's gone. Catfish has been gone. Kenny Holtzman is gone now. Guys are dropping off for sure, and they're getting older. That 74 team is like the 73 team is like the 72 team for me. It was a bunch of good guys that went out and they competed to win baseball games, and they were able to do that in a lot of different ways. There was a brand of baseball that belonged to the A's, and they played it the best, and they played it against the best teams in baseball.
Let's end on this. How are things going with Nashville right now? I know how hard you're working with the Nashville Stars.
Nashville is great. We're not expecting very much until 2029, but I've been spending a lot of time there, getting really, really deeply involved in the community and doing things for the youth in the Nashville community. Teaming up with PepsiCo to do youth baseball stadiums, both girls and boys stadiums around the city of Nashville, and so that's the project that we're doing now. We've got some other things that we're looking at as well.
Well, I know you're going to be on A's pre- and post-game live here in just a little bit. I can't thank you enough. It's always an honor. I mean, A's fans love you. You know that. You're truly one of the greats in our franchise's history. And just to have you on, it's always an honor. And it looks like we're going to have a couple TV dates together coming up here in July. So it'll be fun doing a little TV with you again soon.
Looking forward to it, Towny. You know that.
Thanks, Stu. You be well, buddy.
Thank you, my man.
The great Dave Stewart right here on A's Cast Live. And yeah, I mean, you can look at Dave as an A's historian, right? Because he lived the playing part of it, but also as a kid, he watched those teams, right? You know, when you hear about Reggie Jackson used to pick him up and bring him to the ballpark, and he and Ricky used to sneak in. I mean, he lived it as a kid, those teams in the 70s, and then was a star with the team in the late 80s.
It's always good to hear from him when it comes to the historical teams. But I was very fascinated to hear about him putting on the GM hat and the agent hat.
Oh, it's awesome.
About the trade and then the pitching stuff. I mean, we're at 656. You said we're on pace for 1,000. We looked it up the other day, but right now, 656 pitchers have already been used in Major League Baseball, and it's what's today, June 14th.
I can tell you one of the honors of my career has been getting to know Dave Stewart, doing a lot of TV with him. And when you say you do TV with somebody, that means, well, you know, there's the pregame, there's the postgame, but then there's in-game where you get to talk to him. And you sit there for a couple hours and just BS about life, baseball. And Stu is he is a wonderful human being. He is really just somebody that you should look up to, that people should look up to as a role model, and what Stu has done in his career and his life. You've been a part of it when we've been able to sit there and chop it up with him. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can go when you're hanging out with Dave Stewart. It's like, and then now when we start talking about the ownership part, you know, what was great was when we were in Nashville for the winter meetings. Of course, Dave is trying to make Nashville happen. To watch him buzzing around the not the Grand Ole Opry, the Opryland Hotel where we were, and to watch Dave working his magic there. And of course, that they're going to get expansion and get the Nashville Stars. I mean, it's been a treat working with Dave all these years. It really has. I look forward to some TV dates in July working with him over at NBC.
Yeah, well, the times we are sitting up there and chopping up with him at NBC, it's usually him and I talking about what pitching was like when he played, when he was pitching in complete games, and how he pitched into the 10th inning. 10th inning? Look, if guys pitching to the 7th now.
10th inning? How can you pitch? Yeah. Allowing a guy to throw 140 pitches?
Whoa. I think the last guy to throw anywhere near that was
But
Lincecum.
Dave was right. Like, one of the reasons why, whether Dave the pitcher or when Dave the pitching coach, his pitchers went longer, you didn't show everything right out of the gate. You had bullets in the gun when you went a third time through. They really haven't seen the forkball yet. Versus now, everybody just we have taught everybody to unload everything right out of the gate. So there's no tricks. You don't have anything up your sleeve a third time through. I mean, are we going from one Bay Area legend to another?
I think so.
I mean, Dan going from Stu to Dan Hayes. I mean, we're talking Bay Area legends right here.
I mean, I spent all last night with Dallas talking Bay Area baseball, and with Jenny Kavnar talking Bay Area baseball. So, I mean, this is home week for me, even though we're in Minnesota.
I know it is cool to always bring you back, and I mean, being in Minnesota, I mean, it's a great sports town. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But you miss the home cooking sometimes.
I mean, I was back last weekend. I'll be back next weekend when the Twins play the A's. I'll be back in July when the Twins play the Giants, and I will be at home. Like, I'm going home every one of those trips to see my family. So, yes, of course. And I miss seeing Warriors games without the NBA package. I miss not being able to go to Niner games, although the Niners are here in week 2, so I'll be at that game. They're playing the Vikings. I'll have to skip the Twins game that day, darn. But it was like hoping that the Niners end their now 33-year losing streak in Minnesota, which is a great. I looked it up because I hear about it from everybody here. I think the last time was either 91 or 92 that the Niners won. They beat the Vikings in the Dome back then, but 2018 they opened the season here, lost. I was at that game last year. I wasn't at that game. That was terrible. The Monday night game. They just have this history here. It's all these Vikings fans can wear me out about it because the Niners haven't won here in 3 decades. So
91 was the last time the Niners won him at.
It may have been 92, but it may have been Steve Bono. I can't remember, but
who was quarterbacking for the Vikings back then?
Oh, man, that's a good question.
We're looking it up. Who was the quarterback?
There's no way it was Rich Gannon, was it?
Yes.
Rich Gannon was there for 12 games.
Don't forget Sean Salisbury.
He started 4 games.
Oh,
hey,
man.
He's 3-1. Don't sell Sean.
Oh, my God. Even Anthony Carter got some tosses in the wide receiver. So that's been a – well, you know what? Maybe this is the year you buck that.
I hope so, because they're in a rebuild. They better they got some weapons, but, man, they're in a rebuild. Niners need like a good 14-win season this year. Just leave no doubt.
All right, so it's been pretty crazy when you look at the summer sausage, now the purple rain, when you look at the Twins.
Yeah.
Just kind of charting this thing. First 20 games, you go 7-13. Next 20 games, they go 17-3. Then the next 7 games, 0-7. And now the last 13, 10-3.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
I mean, I think they've had 3 5-game losing streaks. It's been insane. They had a 12-game winning streak in there. You mentioned it last night, or you mentioned it about the Purple Rain guitar last night. They had the summer sausage. The thing they're really good at, they haven't gotten caught consistently in. They have valleys for about 4 or 5 days. And it's crazy. I saw that stat the other day. The Braves had their first 5-game losing streak since 2017. That's incredible to me. Like, that is just incredible. The Twins have had 3 5-game losing streaks alone this year. And yet there's 5 games above 500. And I think they know how to have fun. They talk about celebrating their wins. I don't know if the camera stayed on it last night in postgame, but they pose at the mound like teams do after they win conference championships in basketball. They get together and they do that group photo, the 9 players that were on the field for the win. And they do Polaroids of it, and they're stacking them up in the clubhouse right now. They do, they've had, what are the other celebrations? Man, they've had like 5. I wrote them in the story last night, but they've had 5 different stupid little things that they've done all season. This team knows how to have fun. And given that Byron Buxton really has not played well so far, given that Royce Lewis has played 9 games, 8 games, I think that, portends well for what they can be, because if Byron Buxton hits the way he has the last couple of days and gets hot, he can carry a team. Carlos Correa currently is carrying this team. Royce Lewis is unbelievable. You look at what he's done in the majors. It's like 85 games. His OPS is ridiculous. He's like a 320 career hitter. This season, he's averaging a home run about every 7 bats right now. There's a lot of fun built within this team, and we haven't seen it consistently because Royce Lewis missed 58 games, because Buxton has been so hit and miss early. And I think that, if we see those guys get going, there won't be very many down periods the rest of the way.
I like hearing it because it's a long season, right? And what ends up happening with these ideas is you're building team. You're building togetherness, because too much in our sport, everybody's worried about numbers. Everybody's worried about contracts, and it's hard to build team chemistry in our sport. I like that. Where are we with the summer sausage? Is it still going? Is the pack dead?
I hope it's dead. I haven't seen it for a while. I really hope it's gone. That thing it has to be the funkiest If it's still alive somewhere, it probably now needs to travel by a separate vehicle. If the team would have to hire a separate plane to take it on the road at this point, there's no way. That would be such a hazmat issue potentially. And that was Rocco's joke when they were in Anaheim in like late April. If you haven't seen that interview, it may be one of the best pieces of baseball TV, candid interview where he's just talking about how he doesn't want another pandemic to start from the Twins clubhouse because somebody opened the summer sausage and got sick, and then it just, they become the carriers of the next world pandemic. They had so much fun with that. They did bingo night one night when they were getting rained out in Detroit. They've had, last night they did the Prince home run celebration. They had, Stephen Okert took a $5 bill out of his pocket when he's the only player that has taken the bullpen cart in Washington all season. And apparently he's done it like 8 times. He had a $5 bill in his pocket and tipped the driver as he got out and went to the mound. There are a few new faces with this team, but there's a lot of dudes from last year. And I think that consistency allows them to be themselves, and they really like each other. It's honestly one of the better. This is my 18th year, and this is a fun clubhouse. And the very first team I ever had I covered the Padres in 2007. That was Greg Maddux. That was David Wells. That was like Mike Cameron, Trevor Hoffman. I had a team with dudes. This team stacks up pretty close to that. That was Jake Peavy winning a unanimous Cy Young. Adrian Gonzalez was a rookie. It was a really fun team. Brian Giles was the crazy guy. This team has a lot of really good characters, and they know how to win, which is a good place to be.
And boy, it's turned into a slugfest, right? Because all of a sudden, Stephen Vogt and the Guardians are the real deal.
Yeah.
We know that the Royals spent more money than anybody else in the American League in the offseason, and they're in this thing, and it's going to be a battle. And the Central now is, and look out, I mean, who knows? We'll see what Detroit does in the second half. I mean, it's become real interesting in the Central.
I mean, right now, the Twins are in the wild card firmly. And last year, if you were not in first place in the division, you were way out of the wild card. This is a much better division. It's hard to keep saying, man, Cleveland's going to run out of gas. That offense is averaging over 5 runs a game. Josh Naylor, Jose Ramirez, both. If Aaron Judge and Juan Soto weren't in New York, where maybe they blow things out of proportion a little bit, even though they're incredible, I think we'd be talking about, Naylor and Jose Ramirez as MVP candidates. They're incredible. Andres Jimenez looks like the all-star again. Their bullpen is built to win games, and they are. And Kansas City is, starting pitching heavy. Bobby Witt's an MVP. Bobby Witt's incredible in his 3rd year. He took some steps forward last summer, and he's carried it through. And Salvi Perez is like the ageless wonder. So I think the division has staying power. The thing that both Cleveland and Kansas City, and even the Twins, I mean, I think all 3 of them, major injuries would kill them, any of them. I think they are all teams that probably depth-wise, that could be a problem. So, the Twins position player-wise can obviously hang. They lost Royce Lewis for 58 games. They can't suffer a pitching injury. Cleveland could not suffer an injury to Naylor or Ramirez and survive. And I don't know that Kansas City could keep thriving without all of their starting pitching going. But, these teams have played great for 65 games so far, and it's been fun.
Is there always, because, yes, I have Lewis on my fantasy team. Is there always Buxton, Correa? I mean, you mentioned, is there always like this fear, like no matter when this thing gets rolling and this thing's good, it can be a ticking time bomb? Because no one can stay healthy.
No, they can't. Carlos is the healthiest of the group. He played all of last year with plantar fasciitis. And, his numbers are good. I think he's played like 88% of the games over the last 5 years, something like that. But he's the one everybody's worried about, right? The ankle. It didn't get him to San Francisco. The ankle didn't get him to New York. But I think that Lewis and Buxton, those questions are, justifiable because Buxton's been on the IL something like 19 or 20 times in his career. And Royce Lewis has blown out his knee twice. He's missed 58 games with a strained quad. He hurt his oblique last year. He hurt his hamstring last year. I mean, you look at what he would be if he was 162 games. It's not hard to say he would be one of the biggest stars in baseball if he could stay on the field. And they're trying to get him there. And it will be interesting to see if they can get him there because it is so much fun to watch. And, But Rocco, even we were asking about that today, and he said it's a fair question. Can we do this? You've seen Byron Buxton back off a little bit on routine grounders, trying not to, run it 100% for self-preservation. That irks some people. When you look at like the percentages, like 99.8% that a routine grounder to third is going to get fielded and thrown out. I understand Carlos Correa is very much into this and has preached this to Buxton and Lewis. Just save your energy for when you really need it on the routine stuff. Put a good effort out, but don't kill yourself getting down the line. I think if they can really learn that lesson, then they have a shot at staying on the field. But look, this is baseball. You're out there 162 days, and anything can happen. It usually does. So it seems with this team, it's only a matter of time. They're hoping against hope that it is.
I can't explain it. I don't know how anyone else can explain it. When I bring up the Yankees and going back all the way to 2002, you're going to be the best one to ask. We're talking about all the human beings have changed, right? All the people have changed. They both changed ballparks. We've had all the play. How is it possible that one franchise could do so well against another franchise and everybody has changed, new ballparks, new everything? How is this possible?
Look, they should be calling in experts to find out if there was maybe there's some kind of curse. My thought is, remember that story came out about maybe 15, 20 years ago that the guy at the Metrodome turned on the fan in their favor when they were batting in the World Series to try and make fly balls carry further? Did they maybe anger the baseball gods? Is it possible that in 1987 and 1991, for their short-lived glories, they cost themselves decades of pain? Because there's nothing else that explains it. I mean, granted, the Yankees have like $170 million in payroll more than the Twins right now, but the Twins have good players. You should win one game at some point, and I think the losing percentage is like they have less than a 250. Yeah,
we've documented it. Going, wait a minute, we can't just. Everybody has changed. Everything has changed. I mean, we're talking 2002. Hell, I got married in 01. A lot has changed in my life in that time. I got kids who are now going to college. I mean, the amount of the players, it makes no sense that one team could beat another team that much, that long.
And the Twins are somewhere around a .526 winning percentage against everybody else in baseball in that same period. So maybe it's, I don't know. I can't remember what, I think it was Charlize Theron did the movie Young Adult a couple years ago, and it's about Minnesota. And they do call this place, people in the movie call it the Minneapolis. Maybe that's it. Maybe there's this big brother, little brother thing. They're afraid of New York. I don't know. I can't. I would have spent too much time trying to think about it. It just exhausts you thinking about it. Like, you have people who don't believe in baseball curses. I see the Giants playing terrible, and then you put the Dodgers in front of them, they wake up, right? And they play great competitive games, even though the Dodgers are by far the better team most of the time with way more payroll. And yet the Giants find a way to win. I get that's a rivalry. I don't know how this happens, and I'm glad. Like, we need to get scientists to come in and try and explain it. It's some kind of phenomenon. It's very, very frightening. And the Yankees, the New York media just laugh at us. They know that we have nothing to write about.
They love it.
3 days in a row, we just struggle for stories like, hey, it happened again. All right. Like, why do we even show up? I don't know.
Voodoo dolls, witches, warlocks, exes. You got to bring somebody in there to change this thing, because we all hate the Yankees and you can't figure it out. Like, do you guys talk to the players about it? Because obviously they have nothing to do with 02, 07,
right.
2000. I mean, these guys they were just children. I mean, the fact that this has gone on, what do the current players say about it?
Yeah. like trying to talk to Nelson Cruz and Carlos Correa, two guys who have played in World Series, who have been winners, over the years. They're just at a loss because they don't want to believe it. It's just the Yankees. These are teams that they beat when they were on other teams. When I covered the White Sox always could go to Yankee Stadium and beat the Yankees. And so I think they're all at a loss for it. They don't know, but some of the weirdest stuff happens. Guys miss cutoff men. Guys make base running mistakes. I don't get it at all. And it's dumbfounding to me. This is my 7th year. I didn't want to believe it at first. I still don't. I don't buy that stuff. But man, it's so hard not to think there's something else there. It's getting harder and harder to deny with every sweep that goes along.
Hey, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it, and we will see you soon back here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, see you guys in 2 weeks.
All right, buddy. Be well.
All right, thanks.
The great Dan Hayes. By the way, breaking news. Did you see that?
I did not.
We have somebody else being disciplined for gambling.
Oh, really? I didn't get that update.
But then I clicked on it, went to the old one from June 4th. I hate when the Athletic does that.
Well, no wonder Brody put out a picture of Stu and Ice Cube were hanging out together at the NBC Sports studios.
Oh, he's there at NBC?
Yeah. I mean, just when I thought, if I would have saw that earlier, we could have asked Stu about hanging out with Ice Cube. What was it? Gambling. Okay.
Somebody else got popped for gambling.
See if anyone has any top stories here on. Oh, MLB umpire Pat
Hoiberg.
Yeah. Hoiberg disciplined for violating gambling rules. That's from Ken Rosenthal and Evan Drellick, both of The Athletic.
Uh-oh.
I don't think I'm logged in, so I probably won't be able to read the whole thing. During this year's spring training, Major League Baseball commenced an investigation regarding a potential violation of sports betting policies by umpire Pat Hoiberg, and will be said in a statement issued to The Athletic. Mr. Hoiberg was removed from the field during the pendency of that investigation, while MLB's investigation did not find any evidence that games worked by Mr. Hoiberg were compromised or manipulated in any way. MLB determined that discipline was warranted. He has chosen to appeal that determination. Therefore, we cannot comment further until the appeal process is concluded.
Well. Now we got an umpire.
What if it comes out that somehow he's friends with Shohei Ohtani too? I doubt it, but
Pat Donahue, what was the guy in the NBA?
Tim Donaghy.
Tim Donahue. Uh-huh. Remember, they acted like he was just this rogue guy, the only guy doing it. It's amazing how these leagues do this. Remember, it's just these players. Oh, now it's an umpire. Yeah, that's a tough one, because if there's somebody who really can affect over and unders, wins, losses, stuff that people can bet on, it is umpires. It shows you why leagues are so terrified of it. But yet now when I watch MLB Network and they're showing the highlights, and every highlight they're showing the FanDuel stuff next to it, you're like, you got to figure out something long-term. Because just, well, we're going to ban everybody. It's like, is that really the answer? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. We're just going to stay hard. We're going to be in business. We're going to make money off of it. We want it to happen. But just if you are part of, like, they treat us with that. Like we have any, like we can't gamble on baseball games. We can't gamble anything on baseball. Not that I probably would anyway. Because to be successful in gambling in baseball is, we will start talking. I mean, we're going to Vegas. We're going to have to start talking gambling more. The fan base is going to flip. It's going to change. There's going to be more gamblers. We're going to have gambling. It's just, it is what it is. But would I want to bet on to bet, from what I know from people that are professional gamblers who I've had on my talk shows for years during football season, to be good at baseball and to win at baseball betting, you got to bet every day. You got to bet consistently. Right? And that's when the win 53% of the time, you're doing well. But you just can't say, I'm picking one game a week. Like, it's not the NFL. So you got to find trends. You got to find certain things that teams are doing. Like Minnesota would be like the worst team to bet on, because you never know when they're going to be on their next streak.
I guess you could bet against them when they play the Yankees.
That's
true. That's a guarantee.
Like you could bet against the A's right now.
White Sox.
You can bet against those teams, but you're going to have to put a lot of money down. But now an umpire. Major League Baseball is the king of trying to diffuse stuff and have it hopefully go away. But now you got players, but you didn't have any big players. Now you got an umpire. Oh, but he wasn't betting on the games that he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it says in here he has not been on
Well,
the
you had a big name, Shohei Ohtani, and you still, to this day, have we got a full report from Major League Baseball on their findings?
I thought it was concluded and nothing happened.
Well, they know what the authorities did. They allowed the authorities to do a lot of the investigation. The authorities weren't going after Shohei Ohtani. I mean, what's ever happened with David Fletcher, his best buddy on the Angels, who was betting on baseball? Has he been suspended yet?
Well, now he's pitching for the Braves in the minor leagues.
He's a knuckleballer now. That's why I got this going now.
I'm just reading more about this. Hoiberg hasn't been on the field this year, but he became a full-time umpire in 2017, and he was regarded as a strong umpire, earning an assignment to work the World Series in 2022, the first of his career. The tracking site umpirescorecards.com gave Hoiberg a perfect score during the game he worked behind the plate. Oh, wow. I wonder why. Allegedly. This is all in The Athletic. If you want to read it, it's on The Athletic. Ken Rosenthal, Evan Drellick are the ones that Ken Rosenthal tweeting about it, but Evan Drellick and Ken Rosenthal wrote the piece. 9 minutes ago it was released on The Athletic.
How to handle gambling. It's good for your sport. The fans like it. They get more into games. They got juice. They got a stake in the game. More than just, we're fans. Wear the merch. Gambling works. How do you make it work with sports and sports teams?
It's a fair question. I mean, I know you're not asking me to have the answer, but
no, I'm not. I'm just kind of thinking out loud.
But we've seen what happened earlier this year in the NBA with was it Jonte Porter from the Raptors was betting on his prop bets, and he won a ton of money, like for shots missed or shots made. And he's banned for life from the NBA just because he's betting on himself in games. I mean, to throw away your career because you wanted to win some extra money, I mean, it's absurd, but it happened.
And it goes on a lot. It goes on way more than you think.
We're not
Mike Francis, the old was he Colombo family or is he Gambino? I used to have him on my old show, who's now worked with the sports leagues, the former mobster. He was the what was he called? He was the one that did the gas tax, and he was a multi-millionaire. He's making millions on the gas tax. Let's see. You guys, if do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
You've never heard of Mike Francis?
No. The only Mike I've ever heard of was Mike Francesa.
Yeah, he's worked with all kinds of Mike Francis, the American. Let's see, he had a whole. He's part of the Colombo family. He was, I think they called him the Dapper Don.
It's a good nickname.
Is an American former mobster of the Gambino crime family and son of the former underboss Sonny Francis. Francis was enrolled in pre-med, died at Hofstra, eventually helped out. Yeah, he eventually helped implement a scheme to defraud the federal government out of gasoline taxes in the early 1980s. By age 35, 1986, Fortune magazine listed Francis as number 18 on its list of 50 most wealthy and powerful mafia bosses. Claimed at the height of his career, he was generating $8 million per week.
It's a lot of money.
Who in professional sports makes that? He was making $8 million per week. I used to have him on my show. And he talked about Jets and Giants in the National Football League. They allow guys to get into trouble, a lot like what you heard Shohei Ohtani, his interpreter. You allow them to get into trouble, and then once they can't afford to get out of trouble, you own them. And he talked about Jets and Giants that they had, the mob in New York. It's been going on for a long time. But that was one thing when you were anti-gambling. We were doing nothing gambling. That makes sense. And then all of a sudden, now you want to be in gambling and you want to make money from gambling. That is a slippery slope.
I was just going to say slippery slope.
And now you got an umpire. It's just not players. You have an NFL referee. Do we always want to think it's just one guy? It's always just one guy. According to these leagues, it's one guy. Not buying it. And I learned a lot from Mike Francis, and that's why I'm not buying it. All right, coming up next, it's the Mark Kotsay Show. You'll hear from the skipper right here on A's Cast Live.
Whether it's a midweek trip to the ballpark to catch a game or a weekend of baseball for the family, grab your tickets for an A's game this season. Secure your seats today for all the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on all the things happening this season.
Rose and Seth. It's a drive into center. It's deep, and Straw is back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
So grab yours now at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Introducing Ultimate Speed for Business, our fastest internet plans yet. Now existing customers could get up to triple the speeds at no additional cost, and it's all from Comcast Business.
Get started with internet and security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Then 623.24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabits per second internet and security edge. EcoBell and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Up to 3 times downloads for existing essential and standard internet customers.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
We're almost halfway through baseball season, and there's no better time to build your collection of Topps trading cards. Topps packs feature everything from top stars, rookies, game-used memorabilia, and autographs from players around the league, as well as special inserts and surprises. Visit your local hobby shop, retailers, and Topps.com to collect the newest product of the season, Topps Baseball Series 2. Follow @Topps on social media to join the conversation and start sharing your collection today.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
Hi, fans. This season, Kingsford Capital Management is the official hedge fund sponsor of the Oakland A's. At Kingsford, down to business is their way of seeing the world. Investing has its pitfalls, treacherous chasms of half-truth and despair. Kingsford's mission is to create opportunity through application of proven innovation and entrepreneurial focus with trust, tenacity, loyalty, and growth, establishing a strong reputation as a proven intendant and validated bedrock of American finance. Kingsford Capital, down to business.
With the sunshine returning, it's time for golf, and more golf at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. Cinnabar Hills is also your destination for great food with their beautiful renovated restaurant and quality craft beer selection at their full bar. Featuring a grass driving range and 27 championship caliber holes, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club is the best public course in the Bay Area. For more information, go to cinnabarhills.com. That's cinnabarhills.com.
This is Chris Townsend. There are 2 things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Linksole, and you're going to love Linksole. They have just released their new spring line, new fabrics for their polos, lightweight and perfect for technical performance. Linksole also has new styles for their layers and hoodies with cool prints and seasonal colors. You know what they say in the big leagues: look good, play good. Go to linksole.com. That's linksole.com.
Ever wondered what a 30-foot tall pistachio looks like? A giant redwood or Big Sur? Chevron with Techron will be there to help you see them and tons of other places you have to see to believe. Because with unbeatable mileage and a clean engine, cars feel great. So next time you want to fill up on a little adventure, an awkward family photo, or a new commute to work, make sure to fill up at Chevron's along the way. Your car and your memories will thank you. Chevron with Techron, fueled by possibility.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans.
Here's Chris Townsend.
Time now for the Mark Kotsay Show, brought to you by Nest Bedding. Love where you sleep. Check out their location in the Bay Area, or you go online, nestbedding.com, for all your bedding needs, your mattress, your pillows, your sheets. Nest Bedding and nestbedding.com. Mark Kotsay, how are you in Minnesota?
Doing well. It's actually really beautiful here. We had some early work we just got finished up with on the field, and preparing for a Friday night game here that they expect big crowd and a lot of excitement.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know this is something we normally don't talk about to lead off the show, but it's been brought to my attention. Everybody's noticing the work that Mark Kotsay's putting in. The guns these days been noted. Like when you got thrown out and you came out and you kind of puffed up, people are noticing you've been working out, my friend.
It's a good stress relief, Towny. It is. And, our staff, we get to the ballpark pretty early, and there is some time, to let some stress out. And the weight room is an area that I've kind of found some peace in, and been getting after it a little bit with our strength coach, Josh Cuffey.
Well, it is. I mean, we talk about a stress relief. Yeah, there's got to be something. You just can't sit there and just analyze and analyze and analyze and analyze. I mean, it's just not healthy. So I'm glad to hear that your coaches are doing some things, because I know how hard you guys are working to try and turn this thing around.
Yeah, we really are. And, there's no day that goes by that we don't, try to, like you said, dive into the analytics, dive into the video, do as much as possible, get as much information in these guys as possible. And along with that, just go out and work. And, we know the situation we're in. The players understand, offensively, we have to get better. The pitching actually has done a nice job, even though we're young and continue to be young on the mound. These guys are going out. The starters are managing the games pretty well. And, overall, big reason why we've been in a lot of games is the guys on the mound.
Yeah, no doubt. The pitching has been a super positive for the team. That they have thrown the ball real well. How much do you tell the starters, these young kids, how much you appreciate what they're doing?
No, it's a constant communication. Luis Medina last night may not have had his best command. He managed to get through 5 innings. The Twins have been swinging the bat pretty well. They got Royce Lewis back in the lineup, which is a big help for them, and making their lineup out. So, but for Luis last night, again, he battled. He only punched out 3, but still kept the score in an area where we could feel like we could come back and possibly win that game.
Yeah, you mentioned the offense. Obviously, the numbers are the numbers, but there are some guys that are getting better. What have you seen with Tyler Soderstrom? It's like all of a sudden, I know they call it a small sample size, but it's like the light has turned on. You're seeing a lot of power. You're seeing some good at-bats.
Yeah, I think, for Tyler, we talk a lot about the swing decision just in zone. When he swings at strikes, he's impactful. He can really, do damage. He's a strong kid with a lot of power. And we saw that last night with the ball that he hit to dead center. He's worked really hard on shrinking the zone and not chasing down below. And I think you're seeing the success of that. Again, yesterday in pregame, I talked about patience, the word, and what it means to this club and the development of these players at the major league level. I know there's an expectation level from our fan base to go out and win games, and the same expectations are in this clubhouse. It's been a tough month for everyone here, especially after the success that we had. To be at a point in the season at 500 at 17-17, and to look up now to where we're at, it's been a grind, and we're all feeling that. We all expect to be better, and for these young players, it is a process, and they have to continue to learn at this level, and it's not easy. You look at guys around the league that are in their second year that had phenomenal years. The kid in Arizona, the leadoff hitter there, Carroll, he's starting to turn it around, but you wouldn't have expected him to have the start that he had as well. So we're doing our best to continue to teach these kids, continue to improve in their areas that they're failing at, and hopefully they will at the end of the year look up and have made strides in the right direction, and we as a group will make strides in the right direction to be better.
And that's what I like seeing about Tyler. You mentioned the home run to center. We saw what he did in San Diego. I even think that last at bat in San Diego where he drove it to left center, it was an out, but the way he hit the ball, how you looked at the metrics, how hard he hit the ball, you're seeing. I mean, once Tyler Soderstrom starts using the entire field, wow, look out.
Yeah, there's no question. Yesterday he had an at bat. I think it might have been his third at bat. He went fastball, strike, breaking ball, backdoor strike. He was 0-2, stayed in the at bat, hit a hard ground ball to the shortstop, and they were in a shift. And Royce Lewis was playing third, makes the play on him. It's short, but that's a sign of improvement. That's a sign of a kid not chasing, trying to get his pitch, but then with 2 strikes, battling and putting the ball in play. And that's a big area of importance for us, especially with trying to do better with hitting with runners in scoring position and using the other side of the diamond. We saw Correa yesterday with the ground ball to the right side with men on second and third, and it capitalizes. So young hitters, it's hard enough to go up and take an at bat. And then when you get more pressure with runners in scoring position, feeling that anxiety and understanding that, that they're not the ones that should have the stress. It's not really on the pitcher, but taking what the pitcher gives you in those situations is really important.
Confidence, right? I mean, we see it. We're watching it right now. Confidence is being tested at the U.S. Open at Pinehurst, right? You got great athletes and a game of failure. It's tough to have confidence. So when you think back about when you were a player and you think about how you try and help these guys now, it's easy for us to say, hey, why don't they just have confidence? But it's tough to build and trust and have that confidence when you're in a game of failure.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you're right. And now, I think the major league batting average is 240. And so, these guys are failing, 76% of the time. And so it is tough, and you have to take what you can out of the failure. Like I said, we're talking about Soderstrom's at bat, even though it wasn't the result, it didn't result in a hit. It's still a positive at bat. And those are the little things that we try to talk about and stay focused on to help build that confidence in a time where, there's a lot of negativity, around the game, and that's what we try to fight through.
I got to tell you, the other day blew my mind when they started talking about different positions and looking at offense and center field. Obviously, Aaron Judge is blowing everybody away. He's having an unbelievable year. But the third best offensive player, according to weighted runs created plus playing center field, is J.J. Bleday. And I don't think a lot of people would think about that. I mean, when you're the third best offensive center fielder, that says a lot. I mean, how much have you really watched him just grow right in front of your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this kid last year and, trying to stay focused and stay patient with his development. He was kind of rushed to the big leagues by the Marlins. When we got him, I think he only had maybe 150, 200 at-bats in the big leagues and a very limited sample size, even in the minor leagues, because when he was drafted in 19, COVID hit in 20. He didn't play in 20. So his first minor league season was 21, and then he ends up in the big leagues in 22. And, so that's really accelerated, for him. And, over the last 3 months, as you talked about, I've been really impressed, not just on the offensive side, but also on the defensive side. He's feeling more comfortable. He has better instincts. He's getting better reads on balls in center field defensively. But, the at-bats have been solid from the start of the year. He's really worked hard on his swing and also on his physicality this offseason, put in a lot of work in the weight room, really got strong, and you're seeing the results of it. Why he's able to maintain his strength and go out there and play every day.
Yeah, and it's not easy. I mean, a lot of people don't think about this. I mean, we first started seeing it in the NBA, and we're seeing it now in baseball, where you're starting to monitor, okay, how much are you running? Because when you're in center field and you're playing every day, you're running basically more than any other player on the field.
Yeah, you are. It's funny because I think back in 2004, my first year with the A's and playing center field every day, and those days nobody tracked how far you ran. Nobody cared whether you were sore. Nobody cared if you had an ache and pain, and no manager would walk in and say, "Hey, how are you feeling today?" So games changed a little bit, and all in a positive way though, and so. Yes, we do try to manage the workload stuff, but for JJ, again, I think he put so much work in this offseason that, he was prepared for this year and prepared to play every day.
I'm sure this happened to you where you put a lot of pressure on yourself when you're a high draft pick and there's a lot of expectations. You mentioned Corbin Carroll, obviously got the contract, had the year last year to go to the World Series. I think about Zach Geloff. This offseason, he's top 10 on the Shredder MLB Network. I mean, everybody's talking about he's a future star. I did the same thing with him. There's going to be expectations and pressure. How do you help him? Because you've been through that. How do you help him go through that?
Yeah, I have to be there to support him. I also have to be there to talk about, his processes and whether we need to make change. And, we've talked to Zach. We're continuing to work with the mechanics of the swing. Last year was an amazing 4 months for him. And, like you said, everyone, anticipated him coming back, hitting in the 2-hole, really helping his club, win more games. And, it just hasn't gone that way for Zach so far. But the kid has not wavered in terms of the work ethic, in terms of, his preparation and, his willingness now to be more open and to look at, maybe doing things a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, he's still going out. He's still competing his butt off. He's still playing hard. And, I still see him coming through this.
Let's end on this. When you talk about people making change, it's one thing to make a change in a sport when you don't play every day. What's it like when you're trying to make change in a sport where you do have to perform every day?
Yeah, it's difficult because, you can get in a place where you're not competing and you're thinking about mechanics or you're thinking about the things you're trying to change, while you're sitting or standing in the batter's box. And that can impact result as well. So, while he's going through this, we do our work in the afternoon. Like I said, it was 2:00 in the afternoon when we're doing early work. We're working on making adjustments. And then once the game starts, it's really about hoping that those things you're working on at 2:00 transfer into the 6:40 or 7:10 game time. And you just go out and react and you go compete and it just takes place naturally. But there can be a timeline that we're all anxious about and that, you lose patience with. And so, and you have to, like you said, Towny, you use the word confidence and that's something that you need the results as well to align when you're going through change to be confident in that and to be confident in the batter's box.
Well, my cousin lives in Minnesota, and as he always says, it's a land of 10,000 lakes, which means it's a land of a tremendous amount of bugs and mosquitoes. You're catching Minnesota at a good time before the true humidity comes in, and it's nasty. So enjoy the rest of the time at Target Field. Be well, and we'll talk to you next week at home.
All right, Tony. Thanks for having me, man.
The Mark Kotsay Show brought to you by Nest Bedding. Love where you sleep. I spoke too soon. There's rain in the forecast tomorrow. You know, at the old place, the Metrodome, it may have been a dump, but by the way, we'd be playing tomorrow.
That's true. What was it? The Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome?
Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. God, that's going to be miserable. You know,
well, what the rationale was to not put a roof on there?
Well, everybody wants to be outside. Everybody wants to be outside. And you go,
Viking Stadium has a roof, has a dome, a retractable roof, right?
Well, they play in the winter.
Yeah, I know. But
it's minus 13 on Christmas Day. How do you think you're going to play?
Bears play outside. They play outside in the Meadowlands.
It's not Minnesota. Packers play outside. Yeah. Those people are freezing to death. Yeah.
They packed the stadium, though.
Remember that playoff game? Harbaugh's got 4 different pairs of khakis on.
Chiefs play outside.
That's freezing cold. I've done Chief game. It's freezing cold. Yeah, it's stupid. It's ridiculous. My cousin is a Viking season ticket holder. And when the Raiders played the Vikings, he's in his jersey skull and doing all that stupid stuff. And I saw him. I'm waving at him. And it's like, yeah, he's comfortable as hell. Everybody and this whole thing about playing outside is literally ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. The weather outside of California sucks. And it sucks everywhere. And we sit here and these people talk about, we got to be outside. I'm like, man, how many rain delays do you have? How many rain issues do you have? I'm telling you. And I know people, I don't want to be in it. I don't want to have a roof. You're like, you need a roof. We learned from Dan Otero, and we could not talk about this because it was sensitive at the time. Dan Otero, former A's pitcher who now works for Major League Baseball, he told us in Nashville, oh, yeah, Vegas is going to be a roof. And they you know why? Because Arizona, Houston, and Texas, they hardly ever open their roofs. They don't want to open it. For the playoffs, baseball will make them open the roofs because they don't like doing it. They open the roof, all of a sudden it's swirling in that people don't, it sounds like a great idea. Milwaukee does it, but they don't like doing it. Milwaukee's having to redo their retractable roof. The retractable roof thing has not been what people thought it was going to be. It's super expensive, and you hardly ever use it. Human beings just got to realize, yeah, I like being outside when it's nice, but you know what? The majority of the time in the Midwest, Southeast, Northeast, summertime, it's hot, it's humid, it's sticky, and humidity brings what? Rain. And what does our sport not do well with?
Rain.
Weather
overall.
So it's like, what are we doing? I mean, what are we doing not having roofs? Yeah, it works in San Diego. It works in Anaheim. It works at Dodger Stadium, and it works in Oakland and San Francisco. Where else can you say that? You really can't. The California teams, all right, we're good. Everybody else, it's nasty weather, and everybody should have a roof.
I mean, Florida, it rains a lot, and they both have
rains
roofs.
Every day during the summer in Florida. What happens is the heat, the humidity builds up. It rains about the same time every day. Batting practice cools off. I mean, it's like every day.
I'm trying to see if there's any more about this whole umpire gambling thing.
No, there's what's there going to be? They're going to cover it up. They're going to make it. By the way, what's up with Ice Cube's hanging with Stu's actually in?
Yeah, Stu's in studio because he was in one of the rooms when he was on with us. Yeah, picture. I mean, Stu just tweeted it out. D Smoke 34. Brody had it. I mean, Ice Cube's at NBC. Oh, the Big Three, the basketball league that Ice Cube is like the owner of or whatever. They're playing at Oracle. The Oakland Arena, whatever we call it now.
I used to see Ice Cube at Raider games.
I just always remember the song, the remix song, the Raider Nation one.
I just remember Ice Cube starting to do Disney movies. Does Ice Cube, does he still carry the street cred? From NWA to Disney movies?
I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask that question to. I don't have any street cred, so I don't.
I just remember being at Raider games, we were kind of laughing on. Remember when this guy, Mr. LA, tough guy, now doing Disney movies? How old is Ice Cube now?
I would say at least 50.
He's got to be about my
54.
Yeah, because I'm 52 and NWA came out. Remember, they're hardcore gangsters.
His son's an actor and a big wrestling
Hardcore
fan.
gangsters doing Disney movies. Am I wrong?
I don't think so, no.
That's all I'm saying. Gangster rap to Disney movies. Doesn't make sense. All right, where are we at? We got how much time?
We're at the end.
We're at the end?
Yeah.
This is it?
Yeah. We're back on Tuesday. Royals are in town.
Oh, I'm playing a golf tournament up Napa on Monday. That's where I got a day off. I may deserve a day off because my Father's Day may be a doubleheader. That would be awful. Speaking of a roof, I mean, seriously, how do you not have a roof in Minnesota?
That's what I said. How they build up.
You know what? Safeco / T-Mobile, what is it now?
It's T-Mobile still.
T-Mobile.
They've only had two names.
And Seattle is the best, right? Yeah, they can have the retractable roof, but it's hardly ever open, but the sides are open. So you can have the roof that keeps the rain, but you can have the sides open so you can freeze your butt off in the Pacific Northwest and feel like you're outside. How about we just all do that? Why don't we all just come together and say everybody needs a roof. You can keep the sides open so you want to be hot as hell with the humidity and you can still feel it, but it protects you from the rain. Or at least have something that keeps the rain from going onto the field so we can play the game. It was a big thing for the Rangers. The Rangers are like, hey, we have a roof. We can play 81 games now.
I can attest, been to the ballpark. Beautiful. And it's temperature control, climate controlled. It was like 70. They gave it was like 108 degrees outside in Arlington. And they were literally like, hey, it's 108 degrees outside, but it's a cool 72 inside Globe Life Field. And I'm like, this is,
But you could be across the street and be out in 108 when it was miserable.
Yeah.
But we have a roof, so everybody's fine now. And everybody's like, oh, you have the retractable roof. And they'll open it maybe, I think it was.
They've been during the World Series, right?
No, I think Houston and Texas combined were under 10 times for this regular season. They don't open it. Why? Because the weather sucks outside.
Yeah. Especially down there.
Seriously, it's not California. They have retractable roofs, but why would you open the roof? You have a roof for a reason, because the weather sucks outside. It's very rare. Like, what are you going to do when it's 115 in Arizona? Open the roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, keep the roof. I mean, oh, my God. I don't get it. Dave Stewart on the program. Awesome. Mark Kotsay, Dan Hayes. Great show today. We ready to go?
Yeah, Tuesday. We'll
see you on Tuesday. Wait, you don't have to. What are you doing tomorrow and Sunday and Monday?
These are, I'm actually using, well, I guess technically vacation time. My wife and I are going to Monterey.
Of course you are. Summertime, you're going to Monterey.
And Monday's a company holiday.
What are you going to do when you get linked to the everyday schedule like us? You'll get more money, but what are you going to do?
Oh.
What are you going to do when you just can't skip off to Slow? You just can't skip off to Monterey. What are you going to do when you got to work every game?
Well, we'll get there when we get there.
You're going to have to put your big boy pants on. All right, coming up next, it's the Twins and the A's right here on A's Cast and the A's Radio Network. This is Chris Townsend. I'm proud to announce our year 2 partnership with Link Soul. They've changed my wardrobe, and they can do the same for you. And right now, their spring collection is fabulous. Natural fabrics and versatile styles, perfect for this time of the year. And they want to introduce their performance line for golf, premium for on-course apparel design, and to keep you cool and dry. Check it all out, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com. Remember, look good, play good.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
This has been a presentation of the Oakland Athletics.